I'm the area sales director for Silversea Cruises. I oversee the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada. I reside in Seattle, Washington. I missed coming up and seeing you guys in BC and Alberta and wherever everybody's located. Hopefully that can change here sometime shortly. But we do have our guest speaker today is going to be our Vice President of Sales, Joe Leon. And Joe, thanks so much for joining us here today.
My pleasure, Chaz. Thanks for organizing this. And thank you to our partners at Expedia Cruises. So thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you're having a nice end to your summer, start to your fall. We had a very turbulent year in the cruise industry, as you all know. I think we've all experienced some major interruptions across our entire lives. This is really one of the few moments in history where everyone on the planet was affected by the same event. And here in the cruise industry, one of the things we're proudest of is how we came together. How we came together with policies on how we could secure your investments, and also how we came together in working to create a safer environment on board our ships, and what that means for us when we get the clearance to set sail again in North America. And we expect that clearance to come sometime soon. One of the things we did right away is every opportunity we had and one of the opportunities we had was in Tenerife, where we had 4 of our ships, all 4 of our classic ships lined up in this shot that you see here. And what this gave us was a unique opportunity to simulate what life would be on board for you, our customers, and how we could preserve the experience that we spent the last 26 years delivering. And we were delighted, and we were reminded that, quite frankly, space, number one, is the first promise we make to you, and we are built for this kind of an environment. But we also found that there's going to be a need for certain measures to be taking place, social distancing in certain areas, and mask wearing as we transit through to some of the public areas. But one of the things that we did as an industry in coming together, so we were successful in simulating real life on board here. We got a real idea of what the dining is going to look like, what the main draw events like the captain's cocktail evening and the entertainment that's offered nightly, and how it is that we're going to be able to, again, preserve those experiences, but provide you the safest environment possible. And one of the things that we did as an industry and our parent group, for those of you that do not know, we are the luxury brand for Royal Caribbean Group. Royal Caribbean owns 4 major cruise line brands in their portfolio. It starts with Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruise Lines as their premium brand. They have Azamara as an upper premium brand carrying fewer passengers, and then the 6-star ultra experience that we offer at Silversea. And one of the things that the group did was come together with and partnered with another cruise line, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, to create a healthy return to sail panel. Many of you may have seen the report that was released just a couple of weeks ago on what the panel suggests. The reason we created this panel, first off, is so that they can go on and evaluate our current protocols, evaluate what the environment is. I can tell you that for decades, every cruise line executive in the industry has always stood behind the comment that cruise ships are the cleanest places on earth. We stand behind that comment more now than ever before. And with the release of this report, we've got protocol suggestions and guidance on how we can continue to improve under the current circumstances. So we're really proud of this. The group was together for about 2 months, and again, visiting the ships, going through simulations, and really assessing the current environment, our current protocols, grading those, and then giving us feedback on other things. So 4 very key measures and areas that they were focusing on. First is embarkation. What are we going to do with folks, and how are we going to create the safest environment and create somewhat of a bubble? So one of the first things we did in that area is we've all, as cruise lines across the entire industry, have committed to you, our consumers, to test every person that comes on board, every employee, every crew member, and every contractor you encounter on a shore excursion when we return to sailing. There isn't an industry in the world that can give you that kind of a promise. There certainly isn't in the entertainment or vacation industry. We're taking this very seriously. This is going to be not only a responsibility of us, our suppliers, our employees, our contractors, but for you, our customers as well. It's important that we all follow the protocols and the rules so that we can create a very safe bubble and preserve and maintain it throughout the entire voyage. And that's the commitment that we've made through this panel. So It starts there with screening and testing. Then what are we going to do with the public areas on board? How are you going to interact with each other? We do not expect you to be wearing masks throughout your entire vacation. We do expect our crew to. We do expect and will require customers to wear masks in elevators, for example, where we know that we have cramped spaces. It's only the safest way for us to continue to preserve this environment that we've created. Then we talk about public safety on board and medical facilities. What does that mean for our equipment, our filters, quarantined cabins, updated medical facilities, medical staff on board, what the requirements are going to be? And so that is all detailed in that document as well that was released by the Healthy Sail panel a few weeks ago, as well as, and the last piece of the puzzle here is shore excursions and how do we handle how you visit these ports abroad. So we plan on executing and delivering closed excursions that are through our approved vendors that have gone through the same screening processes as you would and as our crew has. But keep in mind, the excursions that we will offer you will be in line with what you expect and what you would have available to purchase even on your own under normal circumstances. It's very important that we preserve as much of this experience as possible. Cruising is and will be what cruising is supposed to be. We just may have to take a few extra precautions along the way. But as far as delivering those dreams and those beautiful experiences when you visit and meet new people abroad, that is something that will always be a focus of us as a brand in particular. And brings me into our next slide and talking about what makes us the top luxury cruise line in the world. There are many similarities across all of the luxury brands. We all have unbelievable ships. We're all going to tell you we have the best food at sea and the best, most friendly staff you've ever encountered. We all believe it. We're all very proud of our brands, but something has to make it different. Something has to make us different from each other. And for us, it's destinations. Now, to you, the customer, that might sound a little silly. It's what we do. We're cruise lines and we take folks to places. But the truth is, as a luxury cruise line, we operate the largest fleet in luxury cruising. And what that does is it gives us access to the entire world. If we go back to that previous slide for just a second, Chaz, I just want to show how much of the world really is covered by Silversea. If land meets ocean, we visited at some point throughout the deployment and in the calendar. You could see the red dots here represent our Expedition brand. Silversea is the only luxury cruise line that features Expedition product, delivering the beautiful standards that we've delivered for 26 years, taking you to the other classic ports around the world, but we do it in a smaller ship and obviously taking you to very remote places and very remote environments. And then you add what we do in the classic ports. Right? So we visit now over 1,000 destinations in a calendar year. That's more than double any cruise line in any market of the industry. But it's not just the amount of places that we take you to or the really neat places that they can't get to, like Antarctica and the Galapagos. It's how we visit the classic ports as well. Did you know that when you sail with Silversea into St. Petersburg, you will dock downtown at the English Embankment, just steps from the Hermitage, never at the industrial port. When you sail from London on any one of our ships, you will sail from either Greenwich or you will sail right from the Tower Bridge if it's on one of the two smaller ships. That is an experience that no other cruise line's offering to you in any sector of the industry. And when you look at all the rivers in Europe and how narrow our ships are, we can make the turn up most of those rivers. We can go under most of the causeways that you find in the Caribbean, making your destination experience a focal point and the ship a part of it, and no longer just a means of transportation. It becomes part of the destination experience in itself. And you can see here in the next slide that Chaz was showing earlier what the deployment looked like for 2021. Again, you can see the entire globe is covered here. The summer months is where I'd really like to talk to you about this year, Northern Europe, Mediterranean, and Chaz is going to get into detail on some of these destination offerings and show you some wonderful images and pictures of our customers enjoying that and tell you in detail what it is that we do at each one of these destinations. But by far, destination being the focus of us as a brand. And how we take you to these destinations is what you see here on this next slide with our ships. Like I said, we have 9 ships in the fleet now with the Silver Moon, which is just delivered this week, or will be at the end of the week, making it 9 ships in the fleet, 9 luxury ships, ranging at maximum 608 guests to as small as 100 passengers. And that's on the Silver Origin, which was also just a newly delivered ship to the fleet. Believe it or not, in the middle of all of this, we were fortunate enough to have 2 ships delivered, and we're so very proud of the work that was done at the shipyards and how timely they were delivered despite all the world's distractions. But you can see here the variety in size. 388 passengers and on one of our smallest classic vessels, and 608 on the Silver Spirit being the highest. And on the expedition product, it really truly is some of the most exclusive experiences you can have. The Silver Wind will be converted to an expedition product, an expedition ship, reinforced hull, and change all of her windows, make sure that she is safe to navigate through polar waters. And that means that she will be reduced to 274 passenger capacity, the Cloud at 254, and then of course all the way down to the Silver Origin at 100, making these remote destinations very exclusive and keeping that exclusive feel as you visit. Now, what do these ships look like? The Silver Moon, here's some great photos of what she looks like. We've made some updates to some of the public areas, but the idea as you go through some of these slides, Chaz, will show the folks real sense of space that we get throughout the entire ship. We're promising you few passengers on board, but these are large ocean-going vessels that are going to provide you all of the lounges and public areas that you're used to seeing on other ships, just naturally on a smaller and more exclusive type of a scale. And you can see here the beautiful decorations. And this is the decor that's consistent throughout the entire fleet. We've modernized our palette. We've expanded our public spaces because we know that having large spaces and having that great sense of space throughout the ship is so very important, particularly when sailing on a small ship. It's important that it's a small ship, but it doesn't feel small. And when it comes to our suites, I can tell you that this top left-hand corner here is as bad as it gets on Silversea. That is our lowest suite. And what you see here on the bottom is a picture of one of the rooms, the main living room in our owner suite. So we have more flexible accommodations on our new builds. We want to do that for more multi-generational families as we see you traveling more and more with your family members, children, grandchildren, and also larger suites. You've told us throughout our history that our larger suites are in highest demand. And so we've built more of them for you on the new ships, so for you to include and enjoy. Now, that was the Silver Moon, delivery of the Moon. Chaz is going to play for you a quick video of the delivery of the Silver Origin, which happened in June. And this was a video of her first ever sea trials, which were done for the first time in maritime So there she is, the Silver Origin. I love her classic design. I'm so thankful to our shipbuilding team for keeping that classic design and not going too far away and into these new ship models and ship builds. This is a beautiful destination, one that we work hard to preserve. And you could see windows throughout the entire ship. It was really built for the destination. It's the first time we've got a brand new ship built exclusively for one part of the world and to showcase one destination. And the Silver Origin is exactly that. She was built to navigate exclusively in the Galapagos. And how wonderful was that video? And again, speaking to that sense of space that I spoke to earlier, this is 100 passengers maximum. Really what you were seeing through there was a video of a luxury yacht that you'll have the pleasure of sailing on to the Galapagos for 9 days. This is a great picture of our marina in the back. You saw in the video our guides giving you a very firm sailor's grip as they walk you through from the marina onto the Zodiac. And our guides in the Galapagos are second to none. We really do have the best expedition guides in the world. Some of these guys are still scientists and doing their own research while they're out explaining these destinations to you at the same time. Now, this is a picture of base camp You see me on the ship right now. These museum-style cases here have on loan from them artifacts from the Royal Geographical Society in London, which is partnered with us. And as you know, Sir Darwin was also a member of the Royal Geographical Society. So some of his artifacts and replicas of them will be on display throughout the ship. We're trying to bring the destination in as much as possible. And you see that throughout the design of the rooms and the suites themselves. Here you have a sliding window to open so that you have a view from your bathroom out onto the balcony and see the destination. Balconies were also built very unique way where you can close the back wall of the room and it makes your balcony now part of your interior space, or you can close it and leave this teak area that you see here as the exterior portion. We call them horizon balconies, and so far they looks like they've been very well built, and we're really excited to showcase them to our customers. We do have a new ship coming in 2021, the Silver Dawn. She is expected to be delivered a little late as well. Fincantieri in Italy did see some delays, which is why we're not taking delivery of the Moon until October. But the Dawn will be pushed a little bit further into September of next year. But again, really excited to take delivery of her. And with these two new ships, the Moon and the Dawn, on our classic vessels, able to introduce new programs to you. Sea and Land Taste is one of them, where we've dedicated an entire kitchen, entire restaurant to change with the deployment of the ship. So your menu items will change across the entire menu, which is something that we've always promised, but really been hard to deliver. We've also dedicated a bar area to do the same with different tastes and on drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic tastes, and culinary programs take you ashore. And the idea is to build these programs to be more than just an interactive cook-along class or prepare a meal from a certain destination, but more go out, shop, interact with the people, learn about the history of a culture, why these tastes, spices, and ingredients are so important to the culture, and why they're so widely used in a region. That's part of the program, and we're very excited to launch that next year. Now, one thing you didn't expect from the Silversea product, you take you to these great destinations. We talked about that being the biggest difference. We have this unbelievable luxury platform, but what you didn't expect was the value that comes along with inclusive luxury cruising. And that may take you by surprise. When you sail on Silversea, all of our suites are on small ships, as we mentioned, all have walk-in closets, marble-appointed bathrooms. 85% of our occupancy has a private veranda. 100% of them have ocean views. Onboard gratuities are included, Wi-Fi throughout, even in Antarctica, believe it or not. Butler service. We're the only cruise line in the industry that does not make you buy up through its categories to receive butler service. Everyone gets butler service at entry level. And it's not just an elevated name for a cabin steward. There is a room attendant that takes care of your room. Your butler is there to serve you and to take care of your needs specifically. Wine and spirits throughout, including in-suite bar service, and then of course included dining venues on the ship. And when you sail with us on expedition, we include all of your excursions ashore, all of your exploration ashore, and when you sail into the polar regions, you receive a complimentary parka, but all expeditions get a complimentary water bottle and backpack. So this is the real strong value proposition that we make to you in luxury cruising. I hope that this helps you see luxury maybe closer in reach than what was once thought. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chaz so that he can take you through some of the beautiful destinations that we visit throughout the year.
Great, Joe. Thanks so much for that. We actually do have a few questions I wanted to ask you before we pivot over to the destination focus. So I know we have some interesting things going on with partners in the Middle East right now. Can you discuss what's been going on over there?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things we have been able to do, and we're able to do immediately, as that report was released a few weeks ago, is put them into practice right now. We had been contacted by the Saudi government to charter one of our ships to sail within a closed Saudi bubble within its borders to Saudi ports, exclusively sailing with royal family members and VIPs of the kingdom. And I could tell you that we have put into practice all of the measures and protocols that have been recommended by the Healthy Sail panel. And I'm really happy to say that they're working. They're working really great. We've operated several successful voyages. We will continue to operate that charter for the next 2 weeks, and we hope they extend it a little longer. It's really been a very successful venture, and everyone is delighted.
Absolutely. If anybody's on Instagram, you can actually follow their page. It's actually under Red Sea Spirits. So if you guys want to get FOMO, want to do some armshire traveling and look at their story, it's really great to kind of check that out. Also, Joe, is what's going to happen with our bars and restaurants and the buffets with social distancing?
Yeah, great question. You know, it's funny, on Silversea, there was really more of a pseudo buffet. It was more point at what you want, and we'll get it, serve it, and take it to your table. And it's just going to that venue will just now turn into full service. And we're really well equipped to do it. We anticipate that we'll be sailing at limited occupancies to start. I doubt that we're going to go full force at 100%. We want to make sure that we're responsible and that we don't have to stop our operations again. It's important that when we set sail, we do it when we're ready and only when we're ready.
Great, Joe. Well, thanks so much. We're going to move forward here in the presentation. Anyways, everybody, so as Joe mentioned before, Silversea's main focus is destination. And this itinerary I really love to show, just because with how many people have the interest in going to Europe, going to the Med, these little small ports of call really kind of stick out on this map as well, too. So this is our Grand Mediterranean voyage for next summer. The best thing about this, in my opinion, is you can be on this ship for 58 days and you will not repeat an individual port of call unless it's a turnaround port where you're overnighting there. So literally going from Lisbon all the way to the Black Sea, all throughout the Greek Isles and so on and so forth without repeating itself. Overall, unpacking once, really have an overall great experience for your time on board. And then also Alaska really is something that sets us apart here too. So I have a long kind of history in cruising. I've been to Alaska on 6 different cruises on 4 different cruise lines. And when I first started at Silversea, I went up to Canada Place on Thursday to do ship tours. And I was like, why are we here on Thursdays? Everybody wants to take the weekend off and kind of fit into that piece as well. But of all of us who've been to Canada Place Pier on the weekend, trying to get through that in Vancouver is an adventure in its own right. So what we've done is we depart Vancouver on Thursdays and Seward on a 7-night open jaw sailing. What then that allows us to do is be the only ship in port in Ketchikan, Sitka, Juneau, and Skagway. So you're not having to battle the crowds to get through things, waiting in line at the Red Onion Saloon in Juneau and things like that, where you really have an amazing experience there with a Silversea kind of off the ship experience with a limited amount of people there too. And then as Joe mentioned, we are going to be at the English Embankment in St. Petersburg. And this is really one thing that I love to focus on too. When you're really looking at a nitty gritty of how much value is built into a Silversea branded voyage, you have a double overnight most times in St. Petersburg. And every time you're going out of the Industrial Royal Dockyard, it takes about an hour to get through customs, get on a motor coach to and from as well. So every time you're on someone else's ship, you're going to be subtracting 2 hours from your destination experience in St. Petersburg. We then overnight in Tallinn and also Stockholm to end this voyage as well too. So you're getting to experience the destination during the day and in the evening as well. And then Iceland is something we're really going to be focused on in the coming future, just because of the overall popularity. We really haven't seen any of the decline in this area whatsoever. And it really represents a great value in this destination, just because going round trip Reykjavik, going to these small northerly towns, sometimes you can be upwards of 600 euros a night for a 3-star property hotel. Rather than when you're with us, you can unpack once. You can also combine this with the Arctic and Svalbard and take an expedition voyage to Iceland as well too. And then the Western Med, similar to just kind of showing how these small destinations really make a difference when you're overnighting in places like Malta, Croatia, and Sorrento as well during this destination. And then our 2022 World Cruise. Joe, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, so getting back to the World Cruise, and in 2020, we had set off on a historic voyage. We had set off on a voyage to be the first ever World Cruise to touch upon all 7 continents. Unfortunately, this year, once we hit Antarctica, we had to stop abruptly and head home after we had stopped in Australia. So we had 3 of the 7 under our belt. had to cut that one a little short. So in the 2022 World Cruise, we didn't go back to the same route, but we did want to make sure that some of the unique aspects of the 2020 World Cruise were captured again on the 2022 itinerary. So you'll see here, you start, you do 6 of the 7 continents. We will start in North America in Fort Lauderdale, go through the canal, and navigate down the west coast of South America, around the Horn and into Ushuaia, around the Cape and up into Ushuaia. Now, in between, and that'll give us an opportunity to visit Patagonia as well as the Chilean fjords, and then make a stop in Antarctica on the peninsula. You will actually step foot on the continent. You will be on the peninsula for approximately 3 days is the plan on this voyage. You will deploy on Zodiacs. You will do Zodiac cruising for excursions, and you will also be able to hike and visit some of the penguin colonies. This is a true expedition experience in Antarctica for this piece of the cruise. And then we'll navigate over to South Georgia Island. You'll have an opportunity to see the king penguin colonies there that can grow sometimes upwards of 250,000 penguins, which is pretty impressive. And Chaz has a picture of it. He'll show you a little later on. Making our way over to South Africa, Cape Town, and working our way up the east coast of Africa, and then through the Suez Canal and up into the Mediterranean. Now, really neat aspects of this. It's not hitting all 7 continents, but you are hitting most. But you do get to see Antarctica, set foot on Antarctica, which is very important, but you also have the rare opportunity to sail both major fjord systems with the Chilean fjords and the Norwegian fjords before you make your last stop in Copenhagen.
Absolutely. I think we're really excited about the addition of Jeddah to this as well, with our partnership with the Saudi government, giving us exclusive access to go on destinations in that part of the world.
Yeah. And that's one thing we learned with this charter, right, Chaz, is that the Saudi government is really trying to develop its cruise ports. It's an area that really has never been visited. It's completely untapped to the cruise market. And they have had a lot of investment in recent years internally on building up ports to accept cruise ships. And we hope to be amongst the first.
Absolutely. And that brings me to one of my favorite destinations to talk about is Antarctica. Silversea has started its expedition brand in 2008 and is celebrating technically this is our 12th year anniversary if we have an expedition voyage this year. But we're really excited to really kind of expand into this destination where we're going to have 3 ships sailing here, the Silver Wind, Silver Cloud, and then Silver Explorer in the 2021-2022 season. And really what this destination is about is just being immersed completely in a unique world. This might be the furthest destination most people travel to in their entire life and most remote. One of the best things about going to this places like this now moving forward is you're in a bubble the entire time. This is what we kind of call formal night. If you're getting off the ship, you see all the penguins on land here, where everybody on the Zodiac dresses the same that way too. You're not worried about cross-contamination with going to potentially a museum or a destination of that nature. And it's really great in these destinations where how curious and inquisitive all the animals are. I have had the pleasure to visit Galapagos, which I'll talk about in a moment. But if you're standing here in these areas, the penguins come right up to you because you're in their world. IATO and IACO are the governmental bodies that protect these areas, and they want to make sure that this stays intact for as long as possible. With Silversea, like I mentioned, we'll have 3 ships down here at different times, having a 10, 15, 18, and 7-day voyage. But you'll see different ranges of equipment and clientele on board in these places as well. And this is kind of that picture that Joe was talking about with upwards of 250,000 penguins in Salisbury Plain in South Georgia. If you guys have the time to experience at Antarctica, Salisbury Plain in South Georgia generally is the #1 destination whenever I ask an expedition leader where their favorite place in the world they've ever been is. It's usually this or something extremely remote, just because the just sheer in awe of having these destinations, having the experiences where you're completely in a different world. And this is a picture actually from my colleague Rachel Woodward's trip to Antarctica, where they actually take Zodiacs out to this place called Elfin Cove, where it's known for bubble fishing for humpback whales, where they actually shut the motors off as you're in this destination with massive whales underneath you, where they're swimming around bubble fishing krill and things like that to the top of the water. She actually had one go right beneath their Zodiac, about in the surface about 5 meters away too. So with Antarctic, how it works with our expedition products, as Joe mentioned, it's completely all-inclusive with onboard beverages, food, gratuities, butler service, and flights. But the one nice thing with going to Antarctica too is what we've tried to make happen is make it as simple for you as possible. So rather than being responsible for flying all the way to Ushuaia, either you'll fly to Buenos Aires or Chile, Buenos Aires or Santiago, Chile, have a one-night, overnight, pre-night hotel stay, have an early morning wake up, get transferred back to the airport, and have a morning charter flights where then you are met at the ship in Ushuaia, board, and you start your adventure that way too. We do include a complimentary parka that meets you in the suites. Then we also have boot rental services, waterproof pant rental services, and pole rental services that can then have you meet you in your suite as well too. The reason we really recommend this is due to the fact that there are some weight restrictions on our charter flights. So I know what most of us have the waterproof clothing living in the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada, but it is nice when it just meets you there as well too. But one thing we will always look to do at Silversea is look for a new experience for our clients. So in 2021, we're going to be the first the first luxury cruise line offering a solar eclipse voyage. It's about 1 minute and 54 seconds of complete darkness, right? And I'm not sure, it's I think on November 31st or something around that time frame too. And then also we introduced a new product for Antarctica that'll be debuting in 2021 as well. This is our Fly Cruise program. So how this operates is rather than when you fly to Ushuaia and board a ship on our other Antarctica products, you actually fly directly into Punta Arenas, where we then fly over the Drake Passage. You land in King George Island. Then you have a 6 to 8 day voyage depending on weather in the Antarctic Peninsula. This is for more of our clients who are strapped on time, really don't have 3 weeks to spend in this destination, and also get to avoid the Drake Passage. Most times we've heard the Drake Passage is called the Drake Lake, but about once every 10 voyages, you do get a little bit of motion. And kind of the fun, unique facts with this. So the airport on the top right where our business class situated, so our European style business class flights land is the most active non-commercial runway in the world. The reason for that is the expedition teams and research teams have to use this to get all of their equipment, their people and their experts down to Antarctica as well too. It's about a 2.5 hour flight from here to get to King George Island. You then board Silver Explorer for 6 days and have the exact same amount of time in the Antarctic Peninsula as you would in the standard program that we have as well too. And then there's also, on the other end of the world, the Arctic is more a similar style trip to on an African safari, because the main focus for trying to for visiting this destination is polar bears. You average typically about 4 to 6 polar bear sightings on a trip, but the one thing is we can't guarantee that you will see polar bears just because that is nature. And then we have to go more searching for them. So it's similar to a safari in that nature. But with the Arctic, similar to the Antarctic, we include the charter flights, so on and so forth. This is an example of a combination of Iceland and Svalbard, which is going to be the Arctic. And you get more ice cruising. It's a little bit, the weather's a little bit colder. This is actually taken at 81 degrees north this was the furthest north the Silversea ship has ever been. And then you get the polar bears, hopefully, with the polar guards spotting them from ships. And really kind of how it works here is they try and surprise you with these destinations. My colleague Rachel kind of talks about this a lot, where they went to a destination called Poolpitten, where it's known for walrus colonies. So they had the great experiences with the walruses, the birding, bird life. But then they came back on the ship, and then they dropped Zodiacs about 2 hours from there, and they watched this polar bear eat a seal on the beach, and then they trailed him for about 1.5 hours. So you have these amazing experiences, and that's really what I think sets Silversea apart and really our brand apart is just our expedition experience. When I went to Galapagos about 2 to 2.5 years ago, it really just changed how I looked at traveling. It was life-changing. It really just kind of inspires you to really just try new things and really get out there, just because I was a little bit worried and tried to go on these really exotic destinations just because I love going to Europe. I love going to the Caribbean. I love going to Alaska. But once I experience something like this, I have this drive to just find new things and experience new things with expedition cruising. You get up close and personal with glaciers similar to Alaska, but much more remote in terms of the nature. You'll pretty much be the only ship you'll see the entire time in these destinations here too. Then the other highlight with the Arctic is this destination called Bear Island. It's known for our birding clientele, great puffin viewing, marmots and things of that nature as well too. It's similar to kind of going through Jurassic Park with the arcs and so on and so forth that way here as well too. But anyways, Joe, wanted to turn it back over to you, talk about our Discover blog. Oops. Sorry, Joe, you're still on mute.
Okay, now I'm good. Thank you, Chaz. Sorry about that, folks. Great job, Chaz. And I love your description of the Arctic versus the Antarctic. You're absolutely right. In the Antarctic, we know where the penguin colonies are. We know where the whales breed and feed, so we can take customers to visit them there. But when we're in the Arctic, it is very much like a safari. You know, it is an adventure every day. So I talked about early on about what makes the Silversea difference and destination being it, and I hope that you agree as we took you through some of the differences and some of the different places that we can take you to visit. One great way for us to really explain that to you, our customers, is through the voice of some travel writers that have been on our product, through the testimonials of our own clientele, and through the lens of our photographers that are on board the ship. So I'd like to share with you this website. It's the discover.silversea website. It is our Discover blog. This is a great way for us to really explain the differences of how we experience these destinations, how we enrich your excursions experiences, how our expedition product is different than what you would find, quite frankly, in any other market of cruising industry. We think back to what river cruising was 20 years ago. I think you were probably with me. It sounded like a fad, something very temporary, if you would, and now a very important part of the entire cruising industry. I think expedition cruising is that next new interest. You, our customers, have evolved, and your interests in traveling, your needs for traveling have evolved. And so you need to see more. You're more curious now than you ever have been before, and we have greater access to the world than we ever had before. This Discover blog does a great job of explaining how it is that we take you to see these places. And when it comes to video, no better way to be inspired than to watch a mother polar bear navigate through the ice looking for some new hunting ground with her baby polar bears, or to watch the albatross spread his wings for the first time in the Galapagos Islands. On the Discover blog, you'll have access to all of our video content, and I encourage all of you to please go on there and watch it. It will definitely inspire you to start planning your next vacation if you haven't already. And speaking of planning vacations, a few of the programs that we've introduced to help you along and help you continue to plan as you normally do is, first off, the Cruise with Confidence program. This is a program that applies to any sailing that goes through the end of next year, 2021. Customers have the ability to cancel up to 30 days prior to sailing and receive a full value of that voyage and a future cruise certificate. This is whether we sail or not. This is to give you confidence to continue to plan as you normally do, but also know that if the time comes, you feel we're not ready to receive you as of yet, then you have the right to go ahead and cancel, receive a full credit and 100% future cruise certificate. A reduced deposit offer has been recently introduced. I want to thank all of you for, as consumers, always being so courteous to our partners and us with our time. You generally come to us when you're ready to make a commitment about traveling. We introduced this promotion here during these times because we know that there's a lot of uncertainty out there. We also feel that a 25% deposit is a big ask for you, especially not knowing for sure what this environment is going to look like moving forward. So we put this into place because no longer are we looking for a commitment from you. What we're looking for is a plan. We'd like you to put something on your calendar to strive for and plan for. And we have really strong policies to help protect your investments along the way, and programs like this that require little investment to start. So with a $1,250 Canadian dollar deposit, that would secure your vacation up until its final payment due date, which is 120 days prior. And even then, if it's sailing in 2021, you have the ability with the Cruise with Confidence program to cancel up to 30 days prior and receive a full credit for the full voyage, including air, hotel, and transfers if they were purchased through Silversea. Early booking bonus stays as a constant promotion with Silversea. It's something that's so very well received by you, our consumers, and our customers. October 31st will be the next expiration date, but this promotion means anyone that is booking a cruise that starts in January of 2021 and beyond, and you pay in full by October 31st, you will receive the benefit of an additional 10% savings, which at our price points can be pretty significant.
And Joe, one thing.
And last but not least, Chaz, you want to tell them about the Expedia Cruises exclusive offer that we've got for the next few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe, wanted to expand as well. So on the reduced deposits promotion, the double bonus, so it's a $1,250 deposit, but then when you make final payment, you then get $1,000 shipboard credit as well too. So it's really kind of a double whammy here too. But for exclusive Expedia Cruises partners, if you guys are booking in the next by October 31st, there's select sailings that offer a $650 Canadian per person savings, including cruises to Alaska, the Greek Isles, Panama Canal, Arctic, Galapagos, Easter Island, and Antarctica. And then on every single sailing we have outside of that specific list, that's a $330 Canadian per person savings, just for working with Expedia Cruises, as they are one of our most important partners. And one thing I do want to note is we do sell fully in Canadian dollars, and we are set at an exchange of $1.25 Canadian to USD to reinforce our position in Canada.
That's right. We did that. We wanted to make sure we gave you all security and somewhat of a stable exchange rate. We know that it's been volatile for us here too. So we pegged the exchange rate at 1.25, and that's available on all of our sailings. Chaz, if you could just go back to that last picture before we open it up for questions. I just wanted to make a point. I love that Chaz used this picture for this slide, because I keep talking about destinations, and there's really no better way for me to describe how special it is to sail with us than this picture right here. Imagine yourselves on that balcony sailing through the Tower Bridge, lined with Brits waving their British flags, welcoming the rare sight of a cruise ship going through the bridge. Which I can assure you is a very rare sight these days. So thanks for including that, Chaz. You know, it's one of my favorite pictures.
Absolutely. And everybody, thanks so much for joining us here this morning. And do want to open up things for questions. I did see there was one question in the chat box that Joe I did want to address with you. So it's from Michael Wicks. We are booked on a cruise of the Caribbean March 26th aboard Silver Shadow. We live in Canada. What is the likelihood? What do you think the likelihood is that we will be able to go on this trip?
High. I think the likelihood is high. If it were early or late this year into December, I'd have some real questions about it. But by then, sir, we feel confident that we're going to get the clearance from the CDC soon. If we do, we will set sail, hopefully for the Caribbean in some of for the holiday weeks, and we will be hopefully fully back to service. The plan is to be fully back to service in the Caribbean for Q1. So, but we need the clearance from the CDC, of course. We're confident we'll get it very soon. Like I said, the Healthy Return to Sail panel was really thorough in the recommendations that they gave. So we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And everybody, if just to kind of reiterate here too, with our partnership with Expedia Cruises, so with Silversea, these are pretty much the experts in the field. You cannot book a Silversea cruise online. So working with a professional in this capacity really is the best way to go about booking with us, and having their expertise in what ship you should go on or any destinations they can help out with, just because we really do value their partnership, and we really want to thank everybody this morning for joining us here today. And if you do have any further questions, please follow up with your travel advisor, and we can help you out that way as well too moving forward.
My pleasure, Mr. Wicks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice morning.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I hope to see you on board a Silversea ship soon. Thank you all.